Sport in Uruguay is not just physical activity. Identity and community are formed around it. Networks are woven. Therefore, to understand the space given to LGBTQ+ people in society, it is essential to understand the history of discrimination and exclusion of sexual dissidents from sports. For a long time, Uruguayan sport, particularly soccer, was a place where rigid stereotypes of masculinity were reinforced. Sexual diversity was left out, hidden, or even rejected. The idea that being strong or competitive in sports was the preserve of heterosexuality was part of the popular imagination. To verify this, it is not necessary to go back to the origins of soccer in our country. Much more recently, in 2003, the then coach of the Uruguayan national team, Jorge Fossati, made statements that reflected the existing prejudice towards sexual dissidents in soccer. A homosexual player should not be on a professional team. There are certain rules that must be upheld. His words reflected the widespread belief that this sport should be a space reserved only for those who fit certain molds of masculinity. But his remarks were met with rejection by social diversity organizations. At that time of change, Fossati's words could have been understood as part of the environment. But in the following years, reality would begin to change as social movements for the rights of sexual diversity gained visibility and strength. Thanks to this struggle, Uruguayan sport began to review its practices and discourse. On July 18, 2006, the then-called Uruguayan Celeste gay soccer team held its first training session on the fields of the Poco Sitio Club, across from Centenario Stadium. Since then, they have offered a discrimination-free space for sexually dissidents to participate in sports, from soccer to swimming. The Uruguayan Football Association had always remained silent in the face of discriminatory behavior like Fossati's. However, 21 years later, social diversity organizations, whether linked to sports or not, have succeeded in getting the AUF to adopt an active and inclusive stance against homophobic insults and chants on the fields. In 2024, it launched an awareness-raising campaign and established clear rules against discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. But the fight is and will be tough. Prejudices are deeply rooted, and despite progress, Uruguayan sport is far from being a truly inclusive space. Homophobic and transphobic attitudes still persist, especially in amateur and youth sports. Therefore, it is essential to increase awareness raising and training campaigns to eradicate discrimination, both from the state and from social organizations and private actors linked to sports.